Hi everybody, welcome to Coding with Chandler, and today's video is going to be on abstract classes. My last video was on interfaces, and I figured why not follow up with another video on abstraction, how it works, and of course what it's used for. I know that abstraction and interfaces can get really confusing and mixed up, so hopefully this video clears a lot of things up. I will definitely make a more complex video in the future that really breaks down the true differences between these, but I think that this beginner level tutorial will give you guys an idea for and how they differ from an interface. First, I am going to define what an abstract class is, what it does, why we need them, and then we'll get into writing some code. So first things first, when you are making an abstract class, you need to use the abstract keyword when you are declaring your class. Abstract classes in Java can't be instantiated, so that means you can't create another object of this class person. You can't create new instances of abstract classes. Abstract classes may or may not have abstract methods, and when you are declaring an abstract method, you also need to use that abstract keyword. If you haven't seen my last video on interfaces, an abstract method is basically a method with no body. You're basically declaring a method, and then any class that extends from a class that has an abstract method, they must actually instantiate that method. So basically what I'm saying is, to give you guys an example, we have these two abstract methods called age and speak. So anything that extends from this abstract class must have methods with the method body, age and speak. So you can see we declare the methods here, but then we actually create the method body and give it functionality over in the child class. So that's pretty much how they work. If you give a class abstract methods, you need to make sure that your children classes have those same methods. Otherwise, you'll be given an error. Oh, and fun fact of the day, an abstract class that implements an interface does not have to instantiate all of the interface's abstract methods. Cool thing about abstract classes is that they are pretty independent. You can have abstract methods, but you can also have regular methods, and you don't have to use all the other abstract methods that are in the parent classes if you don't have to, if you were implementing from an interface. Also, if your abstract class is nothing but abstract methods, which is totally fine by the way, I would recommend using just an interface because that's pretty much what it is. So that pretty much defines what an abstract class is. Basically, it's a class that can have abstract and non-abstract methods. Anything that is abstract would have to be implemented by the child class. So let me get into the code that I wrote and explain what it's doing. So we have this abstract class called person, and then we have an abstract method called speak, age, and we have a regular function saying say hello. An abstract method, like I mentioned earlier, is pretty much just declaring a method. It doesn't have a body or anything, but any class that were to extend from person must have the function speak and the function age. I keep calling them functions, but I should say methods. I keep thinking of JavaScript. I'm a JavaScript developer. And then of course anything that were to extend from person would have access to this function, or this method, called say hello. And they have the choice to invoke that if they want to, but because this is not an abstract method, anything that extends from this is not required to have a say hello method. It has access to one, but it is not required to create one of its own. So that is our person abstract class. And then we have employee over here, which extends from person. You can see that it overrode those two methods, those two abstract methods I showed you guys earlier, speak and age, and it actually gave them a body. So that's what I mean when I say that anything that extends from an abstract class must implement its abstract methods. This is what I mean when I say implement. Actually give it a body and give it some functionality. Then I gave employee a method of its own called job title, and it just simply takes in a string and returns, it concatenates I am a plus whatever they enter. And then down here in our main method, we actually invoke some methods that we created above. So as you can see, I created an instance of employee, named it Bob, called bob.speak. So that should print out hello world. And then on the next line, it should print out I am whatever age I gave, which is 22 years old. And then we have Bob job title, which takes in a string, software developer at Google. So that should return I am a software developer at Google, which I am not, but I totally wish I was. So let's run this and see what happens. Oh, looks like I hid my console. So you can see down in the console we have hello world, I am 22 years old, and I am a software developer at Google. And we can kind of just plug and play to make sure that things are working properly. I can change this to 25 and make sure that it prints out the correct number. I'll change the job title. I actually work at Interaction Gaming, so I'll put that. And I am actually 19 years old, which makes a lot more sense. So that is how Abstraction works. If you have any questions, feel free to comment them down below. In the future, I will be making a video comparing interfaces and abstract classes so that you guys can get a much deeper understanding. These are questions that are commonly asked in job interviews, and I think it's important to have an understanding of how these work, especially when you're working in the real world. If you know anybody who might need help or you think this video would be useful to them, please give this a share. And before I go, I must mention that I put the code on GitHub, so if you want to reuse this for your own personal use or for homework or whatever, feel free to click the link down in the description and that'll take you to my GitHub.